For this class project, I have decided to use a VoiceThread as an assessment tool to see if students understand if a given relation is a function. First, what I would do is, in my math class, I usually have it set up as a math workshop model. So I would teach this information in a small group setting with students between 3 to 4 in a small group with me. And then after they see me, they would have to see the VoiceThread station where they would have to reply to the given slides and say if it is a if the given relation is a function. So first, here is like the notes I would go over. I have so we would go over key vocabulary words that we went over before, like domain, range, things like that. Describe what a function is. Then we would go through some examples together. So we would go through ordered pairs. Is this a relation, a function? Why or why not? We'd also show it as mapping. Explain this is the x values over here, this is the y values over here, and explain how it is a function. We would also show it as a graph, do some examples together, and we can plot points using x values and y values to show that each x value only has one y value. So if I had like 1, that looks about 2. So 1, 2, the order pair 1, 2 there. And if I see there's no other 1 value for x, so that would be a function. Or we could do things like the vertical line test, where I can also explain them when they have a graph, you can draw a vertical line straight up and down, and then that will show that that x value, if I drew a line at 1, it only crosses that graph line once, so therefore this graph would be a function. And of course we would have some non-examples and some ordered pairs with no lines, because they would also have to see that on the SOL. Then we would go on and talk about tables. So tables, another way they could see a relation, and they have to determine if it's a function or not. So after this, they would have to be at the station with me, and then after they see me, they would either go directly to the VoiceThread station, or they can go to another station if it's full, and then go to that by the end of the class. That would be where they have to go. So their VoiceThread is here. So I'd have the VoiceThread available for them. They would sign on the Blackboard and get to it. This first page is just me explaining the directions and what to do, and then I have some examples one after the other, and they would comment, and they can comment by either texting using their phone, they can record their voice through audio, or they can record a video of them self-explaining it. For example, if they wanted to do a video or audio, they could record it, and then it gives them the drawing tools, and then for the graph they could actually draw the vertical line, and I could see that as their comment. For the VoiceThread, I made it so the teacher has to review it before it becomes public. That way students won't see other students' responses, so that way I know that the students understand if they're understanding the content or not individually, and then afterwards I could post it, and then they can go back and see their responses and other responses for each given one. So like during my VoiceThread, I got graphs, everything that we went through as a group, tables, and so on and so forth. I think this is a good way to give different ways for students to explain their knowledge. There's some students who aren't the best at writing, or they struggle with writing. They have writing goals in their IEP, or they have certain accommodations for word processor, and they might respond better just by saying it all verbally, so that they can record their answer, and then I still get the same feedback. Or like this past year, I had a student who was mute, so she may not want to say the word out loud, or she was selective mute, and she may not want to speak it out loud, but she would definitely want to like type the answer. So the VoiceThread gives them multiple ways of them showing their knowledge.